Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Tuesday tonight, and every Tuesday I share a sketch with you. So tonight's a little different with my sketch, because usually I create my sketches myself, but I'm participating in an upcoming blog hop, and it is using a sketch from Sweet Sunday Sketch Challenge, which I think is, I don't know that it's still active, because when I went and looked, the last post was 2015, but it's a really cute sketch. So this was, I added just a sentiment piece to mine, and so this was inspired by the Sweet Sunday Sketch Challenge that I'm going to be using for this upcoming blog hop. All right, I'm going to play. It's a sneak peek with the Peaceful Garden suite. That is a brand new suite that comes out in September. Now, as demonstrators, we've had a chance to play with this since June, because this was the suite that was used as part of the Creativity Now event that is a demonstrator-only event. It's a few hours, and there's always a suite that is released in advance for it. And we make, I think there was about 4 or 5 cards and projects that we made together. So this suite is lovely. It's all in blues, which is beautiful for Christmas. And actually the sentiments aren't just for Christmas. And the other thing that's cool about this suite is that there is a scrapbook kit that coordinates with it. So if you're into scrapbooking, or you'd like to get into scrapbooking and maybe want to do some scrapbooking for Christmas this year, there is this very lovely scrapbook kit that you can start with. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I can see comments everywhere. Okay, so let's get started. Desktop, there we go. All right, so this is the sketch. It's gonna go live on Instagram and Facebook in about a half hour's time. So if you miss any of it or can't read it, the image will go live with the measurements on it. So the card base, as always, is 4 1/4 by 11 or 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and then the first layer is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then 2 pieces, and I've said 1/2 inch by about 5 inches for these 2 narrow pieces. We're going to trim them and make banner ends on each end, and so you can cut one of them a little shorter. And then these 2 pieces, the purple and the dark, it's kind of hard to see. There are 2 pieces here, kind of in a gray, and then the purple are about 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then I've added a sentiment that's a bit hard to see, that's about 1/2 inch or by 3 inches, or fit whatever your sentiment is. Depends on what you're using for it. Okay, so let me show you the peaceful, at least some of the Peaceful Garden. So this is the stamp set. So it's all sentiments, just lovely sentiments, and it isn't all for the holidays. And so it's got, big hugs for a good friend, heartfelt prayers with deepest sympathy. This suite is perfect for that, any kind of card. I'm using the Peace, Love, and Joy sentiment on mine. There is also a set of dies. I'm not using these tonight. I'm keeping it pretty simple, and so there are 2 kind of ornate label dies. Hey Lorraine, some little tiny stem, some stars. I think those are ribbon pulls. I haven't played with that yet. 2 doves, and then a larger stem. So really lovely dies. Again, we're keeping it pretty simple. I'm going to let the designer series paper be the star of the show tonight. And this is a great way to use up your designer series paper. I've got a couple of pieces of it. Actually 3, it's kind of hard to see. So this is my favorite. I love the little doves, and it's got Misty Moonlight, Secret Sea, Pecan Pie, Cloud Cover, and then of course the white doves. The other side is Misty Moonlight, really lovely little soft little stems with little flowers. And then we've got this piece with the Secret Sea and Cloud Cover with little stars. And then the other side is white. I think it's like a hydrangea. I may not have that right, but it kind of reminds me of a hydrangea in white with the blue. So that's the pieces I'm using. There is an embossing folder called Peaceful Greenery, and this is what it looks like when you emboss it. So it's got that same shape as the label dies do, and so you can it's just a really lovely background piece. Okay, so I've got my pieces. What else is in this suite? Oh, this is ribbon. I'm not using this ribbon. This is Misty Moonlight and silver edged ribbon. That's also in the suite. And then some lovely embellishments. So these are called Hues of Blue flowers. I've used these before. Secret Sea, Misty Moonlight, Cloud Cover, and white, and 2 different sizes of the little flowers. I think I used it the other night when I made a snowflake card because they kind of look snowflake-like to me. Okay, so let's start putting our card together. So I've got a piece of Secret Sea. My sketch went flying. Oh well. All right, so 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score this at 4 1/4. And use your bone folder to give it a good burnish. So fold into the mountain or the raised line. And then this will go on the front. Now a lot of this is going to be covered up, this centerpiece, and so it's just gonna have a nice kind of pattern to the outside. And I am going to take Misty Moonlight, and I'm gonna see what Misty Moonlight looks like and do a little bit of blending. Do it on the opposite side. I just want to see. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to just do some blending. I just want to add some color to this. I'm going to start off and just make this pattern kind of pop a little bit. There we go. You can see that a little bit better. Start when you're doing this with a blending brush. Start off of it and do a circular motion. So you don't get a kind of a big splodge of color. So that was my trouble with the sponge daubers, is I would always get this big splodge of color where I didn't want it. This just makes you could do cloud cover. Again, we've got the little re-inkers with the uninked spots, and that you can fill with the re-inker. There is no big stamp pad because of the quality issue, but they decided still, thankfully, to release the cloud cover ink pad, or at least a cloud cover in a way that we can use it to stamp. So that just kind of makes that design, that pattern pop. Okay, so this can go on like this. Now we've got 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch by about 5 inches. Actually, mine are a little bit different. I'm going to put them together, kind of one on top of the other, and I'm going to. Actually, I'm not going to do that. That way, I would cut them the same length. So I'm going to cut one banner. So I always start up from the middle, so go straight up, a cut straight up the middle, and then go in from each side. That at least helps me get the center in the center, because often if I start from one side, I don't get a kind of I don't get my center in the center. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. So we're going to put this on like this. Just kind of, I'm going to trim this one just a little bit. So we're going to take about 1/2 inch or so off. That will just overlap slightly. And then I've got my 2 pieces. Changing this around. No, I'm not, because I've cut that in the direction. All right, that's fine. We'll do it this way. And then these are going to be just kind of offset like that, so you can kind of see both of them. And then I'm going to stamp my Peace, Love, and Joy. So this is a really pretty simple card. Okay, so let's start. this down. I love the blues for Christmas. Just overlap that just slightly, like by, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch maybe. So just a little bit of an overlap there. So I'm not using dimensionals on any of these pieces. You could if you wanted to. I wonder if I can, I'm just gonna tuck that underneath because I don't like covering up my banners. I'm gonna cover up the, I guess maybe I'm not going to, she says. Let's see, I guess I'm not gonna tuck it underneath. Thought I was. Let's just put this on. So those are just kind of offset to each other, or both slightly on an angle. Great way to use up designer series paper. Come on, you know you've got lots. I know I have lots. You must have lots too. So you could cut out one of the doves and put on if you wanted to, but I'm gonna just keep it pretty simple, and I'm gonna stamp my sentiment in Misty Moonlight. And I'm probably gonna cut it. So I've got a little piece of basic white cardstock that's 1/2 inch. I don't know, well, it's quite long. So we're gonna take and cut this into pieces because if I just, well, actually it will go across like that. So let's do that. I thought I was gonna cut it into individual pieces, but like I said, this is a really, really easy card to make. And a great way to use up those scraps of designer series paper. Okay, now I've got a piece of basic white that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I've got another strip of the designer series paper that's a 1/2 inch, and this time by 5 1/4. So I'm just gonna put that, put a little mark on the other side. So let's use this clean side. Got a little bit extra. Just a touch. Trim that. Okay. Open this up to get a hold of it. There we go. And that can go on the inside. If you want to, take your bone folder and these little tabs at the bottom, just kind of get underneath them and just kind of run your bone folder. Kind of, it's like curling that curly ribbon, and just give it a little bit of texture down at the bottom. And then let's use some of these really pretty flowers. Now, what colors? I think I'm going to use the white. I've got lots of blues going on in here, so I'm going to just use these white flowers. There we go. How easy is that? I used up some scraps. So there we go. Easy card, all in blues. I think it's quite pretty. And on the inside. So you can make that card. That's the fun part about sketches. You can use the sketch and make all sorts of different cards, and sometimes you don't even realize that it's the same sketch when you do it, just because of the way the paper and the other things that you add, whether you use an embossing folder or you've done, yeah, I like easy too, Lorraine. Sometimes it's just nice to have easy. All right, everybody, so that check that card out, check the sketch out that will go live in about 15 minutes time. Tomorrow night I will be live with another project for you. It's always a technique on Wednesday night, so again it's 6:30. Oh, actually it'll be earlier tomorrow because I have my sorority is meeting for the first time. We call it beginning day, and so we're doing a movie night tomorrow night, and so I will be on at about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So come join me then.